All right, today's theme comes from one of my favorite quotes by Eleanor Roosevelt. It goes like this: "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." So I think what she's getting at there is this idea that we are sort of the captain of our own ship and we don't control what happens around us. And if we go through life waiting for others or external circumstances to match what we want to be experiencing, it's pretty much a hopeless cause. And especially when it comes to interpersonal conflict or issues like that, waiting for others to treat us exactly the way that we expect them to is oftentimes is a losing battle. And so for me, it brings up this notion of what I call self-leadership. And I used to spend many years working in companies, Fortune 1000 companies, and teaching emotional intelligence and leadership. And here's the definition that I came up with for what I call self-leadership. So it's our ability to consistently act in alignment with our values. Let's see, Stefan, can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, we
Oh,
can hear you.
sorry, Stefan. I think it's on your end. Um, okay, so this definition, just picking it apart here. First off, it's an ability. It's a skill that we can train. We can get better at it. This idea of consistency is really key, right? It's just like anything in life. If you want to get really good at playing guitar, consistency is key. If you want to clean up your diet, it's not just about eating a healthy meal here or there. It's about really consistently doing it. And then the question is, well, so what is this ability that we're consistently practicing? Well, I think it has to do with with our ability to know what our values are and then consistently act in alignment with them. And notice how that's completely independent of what others are doing. That's why it's self leadership. And as far as I can tell, in all the years that I've been doing this work, pretty much all humans that I interact with, we all pretty much share the same values, or there's a lot of overlap. But what changes from person to person are the strategies that we use to stay in alignment, right? So if we all sat down and wrote out what it means to be loving or compassionate or taking responsibility, um, the details would change from person to person, just because we're individuals. We have our own life history, our own families of origin, and all that stuff. And so, in today's session, I was thinking we'd spend some time uh, stepping back into sort of clarifying what those values are for each of us, and then what it actually looks and feels like to act in alignment with those values. And yeah, let's see what comes up. So close your eyes, crack your back, wiggle your butt in your seat, get comfortable, setting the intention to just slow down, open the heart, open the mind. We're only going to spend about 9 or 10 minutes doing this. Your life will be waiting for you when we're finished. Just taking stock of what it feels like to have a body in this moment. Like, what are you noticing? What are the sensations in the belly and the chest? Taking stock of your mood. We're not changing anything. We're just noticing. This is what is right now. This is what it's like to be me. Warts and all of it's welcome. It's pretty typical that when we get quiet and close our eyes, that our mind actually becomes more active. Or maybe it's just that we notice the activity of the mind, whereas before when we're doing lots of stuff, we're just kind of lost in thought, lost in ideas. And then bring to mind a memory of a time where an interaction with someone else just wasn't going well. Maybe you were upset, maybe you were hurt, frustrated. Those situations where we're just talking past each other, interrupting, not really listening. And see if you can transport yourself back to that place. And picture that other person in front of you. And then realizing that in this moment, this memory, you have absolutely no control over them, no control over what they're saying, what they're thinking, what they're remembering, the intensity and loudness of their voice, their lack of eye contact. What we do have some control over is us, is our disposition. And so this is where the values come in. So here you are having this exchange. You're probably wanting something from them. So see if you can get clear about what are the values in this moment that are important to you. And oftentimes a clue as to what your values are is noticing what's so upsetting about what they're doing or saying or not doing. The reason it's upsetting is probably because it's in opposition to something that you hold dear. So, maybe it's patience or respect, kindness, open-mindedness. The list goes on. So find a value or two. And then remembering, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So now imagine yourself taking the reins of your situation. And based on the values that you came up, how would you embody those? How would you act in alignment with your values in this situation? What does it look like for you to be kinder, more loving, more patient? In my experience, the more you can hold those values clearly in the space between you and the other person, the higher the likelihood is that you will at least do your part in having an exchange that on some level at least feels satisfying to you. May not change may not change them, may not change the outcome, but it changes how you engage with yourself and then also the other person. And now imagine yourself acting on that in this conversation, this interaction. And the trick here is to be uncompromising about sticking to your values, not letting anyone or anything derail you from being the person that you want to be, regardless of what they're doing or saying. And then notice how your body reacts to this hypothetical. And take a deep breath in. Long, slow out breath. Relaxing the shoulders, the throat, your jaw. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In and out. Relaxing the belly, the chest, the hands. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just keep the eyes closed. And again, just sensing into the body. We just took a little journey in our minds. Let's see if there's a different feeling tone in the body, having explored this different way of being in that situation versus what actually went down when you were in it. Open your eyes, come on back. Yeah, in my experience, the hardest part here is just to not wait until you're in those situations to try this stuff out. But it's all about practicing it the way we just did, so that when you're in this situation, you're like, I got this. I know how to proceed. So anyway, hope that was helpful. See you guys tomorrow. Happy afternoon, everyone.